welcome to another episode of Dish 11. Today we are going to be making schnitzel, and this is an Austrian dish. It's a recipe of my grandma. Credit to my grandma, by the way. She's an amazing chef and taught me all that I have to know. And so this is like a breaded, usually it's typically made from veal or pork, but today we're going to use chicken because that's the only thing that we have. So let's hit it. Okay, I've cleaned this, and now I'm going to pat it dry so the seasoning can go in, because when it's wet, it's really hard to work with. So I'm going to pat this dry, then we're going to go on and make the seasoning. So yeah. Hey guys, now we are going to make the seasoning, and it's going to mainly consist of dark brown sugar, sweet paprika, some chili powder, and some salt. And we're going to add a little bit of mustard and white pepper, because white pepper has like a little bit of spice in it and makes it real good. So I'm going to measure this out. It's around, I believe, 2 tablespoons of paprika. Very clumsy, so don't mind me. And so all this can vary, but maybe what would look like maybe around that much. And next, I'm going to put a little bit of chili powder. Normally I would put more, but for chicken, about a little bit of, just, I know you can't see it because both of them are red, but I'm doing the best I can. So some Jane's Crazy mixed up salt. I know we always use it, but it's pretty good. Take that here, and then some the white pepper and some ground mustard, but very little. Maybe that much. And I'm gonna mix this all together. It's gonna end up looking quite red. And last thing, after you've mixed all of this is actually quite a good trick. What? I'm going to add our main 2 ingredients, salt and some brown sugar. So we're going to decent amount, and then swirl that around. And then, most important thing, some brown sugar. So now we're gonna give that a good mix, and then just pop the chicken in here and swirl it around and let it get all over. Because then what we're gonna do is take egg, some flour, and some breaded, whatever you can use, some Japanese okay, forget it. I can cut that. Still recording. Now what you're gonna do is sprinkle the seasoning very generously and rub it in, like you're caressing a little baby that you're about to devour. So that got dark very quickly. But okay. Anyway, you just want to drizzle it very well and make sure it gets to a dark color like the previous one I did. So we'll make sure it's all getting in there. Put a little bit more here, and that brown sugar will help the flavor and the coloring. Put a little bit here, and just rub it in. And make sure when you rub it in that when you're breading it, you leave time for it to absorb, and you don't want to go on to the breading and the egg and dipping in egg and battering it too soon, or else it will come off and it'll just become this mushy, nasty stuff. Trust me, we learn from experience. And yeah. So we're gonna sprinkle more on here, and then we're gonna go let it rest for maybe around 5 minutes. Then we're gonna go bread it. And now, this is what it should look like when it's done, because you've let it set in this water, all this juice. That means that it's been absorbed, and so now we're gonna flip it and do the exact same thing. So you're gonna flip it, and then all that seasoning generously all over it, and then spread it all out. And then just take another one, flip it, do the same thing. So then let that side rest for maybe another 10 minutes, and then we'll show you how to bread it. Okay guys, now it's come to the final moment of making the batter. And now this is gonna be really messy, so keep that in mind. There's gonna be extensive cleaning, and I've done this a couple of times, and still I've managed to drop at least a lot of things. So first, actually, it's gonna go into the flour. I'm gonna push it in here, get a nice layer on here. And you want it to get actually a lot on there, because when it goes in the egg, it's gonna get really wet. And here's where the mess begins. So you put it in there, quickly flip it. Then a lot of that flour is gonna come off. So then I'm gonna quickly dip it into the panko. We're gonna use panko for this. You can use breadcrumbs, but these are Japanese breadcrumbs because I like them because they give a nice good crunch. I'm gonna flip it a couple of times. And then you're done. And you're gonna repeat that with all of this. And it's gonna take a while, so we'll get back to you. Now we are going to use a mix of coconut oil and avocado oil. And so we're gonna I've already put 1 spoon into there. And we're going to use 3 spoons because this is essentially putting a little bit more because you're gonna need a lot of oil. And so there we have it, 3 spoons. And now we're going to need some avocado oil. And so we are going to add that much. And this, again, you're judging it yourself because some people like it a little lower bedded and some people like it higher, more oil, because it depends. But we're going to put a decent amount because we didn't want the chicken to burn, because all that hard work, we can't let it go to waste. So now what we're gonna do is just wait for it to melt, and then only when you see it starting to steam a little, like you can see some smoke, that's when you put it in. So when it heats up, we're gonna put it in. Okay, see, it's getting hot, and one way to check is put any spatula or any wooden thing in, and when it starts to bubble like that, then that's ready. So we're going to take this guy here, and take a little piece here, and that in there. Here, put this guy in here. And we're going to only go 2 at a time because when it's too overcrowded, so you know what? Let's fit another guy in here because why not? There you go. Now, we're gonna go for maybe around 4 to 5 minutes on each side, and then we'll flip it. So, this white foam is pretty good. Don't be scared if this is your first time cooking this. And just cut it. It's been cooking for a while now. To check, just flip it up. I don't know if you can see that or not, but it's quite nice and brown, so we're gonna flip that, and always wear goggles because safety first. Flip in here. My spatula skills are not yet mastered. There we go. This guy's a good example. This one was breaded well. Here's an example of one that wasn't breaded so thoroughly. So you want to make sure that you're breading it very, very well, or else the chicken will burn. Gonna let this side sit for another 4 minutes, and then we're gonna come back and eat it up. Okay, this is the final product. I've already eaten like half of this thing because it's really delicious and I'm really hungry. So it's got that nice crispy skin on the outside, and there's all that seasoning has penetrated through, and so it's a big bundle of deliciousness. It's gonna take a while for me to eat.